Welcome, guys, to the next episode of Managa Podcast, where we speak about e-commerce. And for today, we're going to discuss about the future of e-commerce. Now, when it comes to understanding the future of e-commerce, we first have to look into where did it start from, where did it evolve, what are the tools that helped us get to where we are today. That's what
Yeah.
we have come to. Like e-commerce has been there, I would say, roughly around 10 to 15 years, but it's evolved along the way. Where one of the first ever e-commerce stores that came up was Amazon, and it was first a bookstore.
Yeah.
It was just purely people wanted to buy books, read books. So that's how Jeff Bezos came up with Amazon. And now, when along the way, what's the significant thing is what are the tools and technologies that helped us innovate stuff? Number one, and two sides, tools that helped us innovate things from a producer side, and also tools that helped us innovate things from a consumer side. So, just to start off things, like when we just talk about the current landscape, where are we currently at in e-commerce? Where do you think, if you had to put timelines from 10 years ago to now to 10 years ahead, where do you see 10 years ahead?
I feel like in the past 10 years is where the major transformation has happened because, as you know, like we said about, you give an example of Amazon, right? Another example I want to give about is, what do you say? Alex Hormozi. So back in the day, like no one knew about these meta ads or no one knew about these stuff. So that's what he did in 2013, if I'm not wrong. Well, while no one knew about this, he learned it alone. He had his laptop. He didn't have any help. Like right now, we all have lots of help, lots of technology you can go and rely on to learn more about it. But back in the day, there was nothing. So what he did is he learned about it. He did all his work by himself. He was ahead of the curve, and because of that knowledge he had, is why he is right now. So this is one example which I feel like is one of the major advancements what's happened over the past few years. And another also, like all these, especially nowadays, you see all these, what do you say, AI tools, right? This was not the case, or even until 2 years back, I don't think this was the case. Right now, there are so many AI tools, which one simple example is a chatbot. That's something which we also worked with, right? So how a chatbot helps a company, all these, this is just one simple tool which I want to explain how it can help some companies. So this chatbot, we have an example, we've dealt with it ourselves. We've sold to our clients a few of our chatbots, so we know firsthand how it helps us.
Yeah, it just simplifies the whole process. Like even if you look at recent trends, like just to break it down for someone who's listening, when you look at it from a producer's point of view, how has e-commerce helped them? In the past, when a producer had to find people to buy their products, they had to advertise themselves through the only social media channels. Let's say before Shopify and everything became very mainstream, you had to advertise yourself through Facebook, you had to go through Google. And now it's come to a point where Shopify has built themselves in such a way where they have created an ecosystem where producers can list their products and show people how easy it is to connect to people's stores.
Yeah.
And Shopify has also allowed people to connect consumers, which is through Meta, to their store. So in this way, you've built an ecosystem. And
now
this
there's
is how
also a tool where you don't need to do anything. You just pay a small fee and then everything's done for you in like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. So I think innovation really helps a lot when it comes to business. And for people who are worried that, tools can replace you, yes, it can if you don't know what to do with the tools.
Yeah.
But if you know how to use the tools best, you can use it to your advantage and sell your tools to somebody else in the form of consultation, in the form of expertise. This is where
Just one more point I want to add. Even if you look at e-commerce as an ecosystem, how it developed, like you told, Amazon started first. If you go back to the story of Jeff Bezos sending out his first order, I think it was a pen or something, and or eBay, one of these companies, how they started off, they had to hand deliver these things. Started like now they're big, they do quick deliveries and everything. You have to see from the span of when they started, and every e-commerce owner should look at that date back. Like these guys started, they were doing hand deliveries, etc. And they went through those struggles. They understood there were gaps in the market. They started collaborating with distributors, making this system faster, and then they passed it on. Like how Shopify told people, come on, use my platform and build an ecosystem. So it's like drop shipping. Just connect them with the manufacturer and then the creator.
Yeah.
And then they all connect. It became so effortless. And from here on forth, from where they started, is not been going backwards. E-commerce making business or the mode of doing business much more faster and much more efficient. And with the implementation of like AI tools and other stuff, it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
So it's about owners realizing how to use AI in their advantage, because AI can't replace you. It's just a tool that helps elevate whatever you're trying to venture out
Correct.
into, you know.
And I think the best way to also explain this to someone who's brand new to the entire industry is everyone wants to either start a business or do something on their own. And in previous times when you had to start a business, let's look at a physical store.
Yeah.
You have to always compare things, and the way how I like to look at it is you compare it in a table where you put what is the time and energy required, what is the man force required, what's the number of people that you have to bring into your store for you to be able to sell something, for you to make money. And then marketing, how do you market yourself? So for the physical store, you need to build a store, renovate it, make it look good on the inside, hire people. The next thing is get inventory. After that, you're looking at marketing. Marketing is billboard advertising, flyers, TV ads, radio ads. This is all an entire ecosystem of the offline business that is put together so that you can get people to come to your store. But now when you look at e-commerce, I can start a store, put my products over there, put the best artwork. I don't have to hire anybody. For me to market myself, I just have to run ads on any of these social media platforms. But the input and the output remains the same. Your input is whatever time, energy, money you put to develop your business. Your output is sell your products. So if you had to compare physical store and e-commerce, you're looking at e-commerce as something that can save enormous amount of time and it's scalable. Like if I start my own clothing brand tomorrow, let's say in Dubai, on one of the busiest streets in downtown, if I start my clothing brand as one outlet, only the people that drive by my store will be able to see it. And that's looking at there is no e-commerce in this world. But e-commerce has allowed us to build my own brand where if I start a clothing brand tomorrow, I can target it specifically in Australia. And there are tools that allow us to do that.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to ignore the US, but I only want to target it to Australia.
You can do that.
I can just do that. So I think that's where our emphasis
Even
and when
Icon, right? Higher probability of winning. How these guys started with drop shipping in the beginning, and then they built up revenue, started stores, but e-commerce became their foundation to, you know, bringing their business upwards.
And also just to give an understanding for the people on how simplified it is. So to set up your e-commerce business, there's a tool. It's very simple. Like for the Shopify example, we said pay a small fee, can get it done in under 30 minutes. Second, once you get your inventory, for inventory management, there are so many tools right now, which again, that saves loads and loads of time, especially when you have large inventory. Inventory management is so difficult. So these tools helps in simplifying that in a really good way. And then after that, customer service, what was done in the olden times, you call them, you reply manually for the Google reviews. Sometimes the customer service is very bad, and customer service is something which can really hurt your business. So what's there now? There's even tools for that as well to simplify customer reviews, customer satisfaction. So just in these three aspects, you can save lots of time, and that too in a good way. It's not like you're sacrificing quality.
Correct.
There's quality as well as you're making good gains.
Yeah. And I think for people to capitalize the most on this wave, let's look at it as a wave, for people to capitalize the most on it, what you have to do is you have to be able to at least try to predict, you have to be able to understand current trends, number one. How do trends form? What are the sources that you can look at to identify a trend? And the next thing is try to be as close as possible to predicting what's the next trend going to be. So like I'll take you guys through a couple of trends that I have in mind, and these are some things that we are also working on. You guys wouldn't know much about it because we just started on it yesterday, but I'll give you guys an insight on it. So the first trend is AI and automation. First step is, why is AI important? AI is important because it simplifies human effort that takes a long time to do. For example, if I had to be a customer service agent for a clothing brand and I'm getting 10 calls per day, it takes me roughly maybe 1 hour to attend 10 calls to pick up the phone, be in the right frame of mind, handle the customer, give them what they need, and then bootstrap and go for the next call. If you hire a software that's an AI automated customer service, it can maintain your brand image, number one, maintain the same personality when having a conversation. It can address people's needs as much as possible, close to 95% of it. Because in an era where e-commerce is digitalized, an AI tool will always help you give whatever you want, as long as there's no human effort required.
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the most significant advantages with AI nowadays. Because as I was speaking to someone today, and they asked me, why do you look at automation as a big tool? For me, automation is very important because time and effort results into money. So if it takes me 9 hours to make $10,000, what I need to figure out is, okay, how do I bring that time frame down? Because for me, time is valuable. And you have to sit down and write down what all are the manual tasks that you have. Are these tasks manually done only by you, or can anyone do it? If anyone can do it, AI can do it. AI is just human on a computer that's running 24/7. You don't need caffeine, you don't need sleep, you don't need a smoke break. It's just running 24/7. And with these in mind, I think people need to capitalize the most on AI, just because it's not here to replace you, but it's here to help you if you look at it in a very positive approach. So I think when we look at, for example, how do you personalize an AI tool to be there just for you? That's the one main thing people have a lot of questions on, which is AI can do everything.
Yeah.
But what people have to understand is you can personalize it. You can personalize it to do a set task for you. Like how we've built the chatbot when we first started the company, which is the AI's role and responsibility is to only answer set of questions that fall within a set of framework that is about the business. So let's say we have a clothing brand. If anyone comes and speaks to the AI chatbot about cars, it's not going to answer it. And that's the powerful tool.
It's how well you train it, right?
Yes. But let's say you're a human that's speaking to someone and they ask you accidentally about cars. Your answer is going to constantly change over and over again. And you have to look at scalability. When you want to be a local brand, it's easy for you to be a single person customer service. But if you want to be a multinational brand across different countries, different nationalities, different cultures, languages, you need an automated system that helps you speak to people with the same set of tone and address various problems all at the same time. So, yeah. And I think when we move from that to the next trend that I see is augmented reality and virtual reality. And this, I do believe it's somewhat as I wouldn't say it's a game changer, but it's like a narrative shift. Like for those that don't know, augmented reality is where the physical world is as it is, and you put on a set of goggles. For example, the Apple Pro Vision, you have the Meta glasses. What it means is the physical world stays as it is, but then you have the AI model that shows you visual text, visual prompts in front of your face.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it would really help in terms of if you see how Meta has incorporated it, as well as Apple Vision Pro, where it helps you understand things better if you don't know what it is. But I wouldn't use it just because I don't feel like my purpose for business is that extreme where anything that I look at, I need to ask an AI, explain me this, explain me that. Because at the end of the day, as a human, you're curious, but the more curious you are, the more you go deeper into the rabbit hole. That's the best way I would put it.
It basically kills your capacity to think if you keep constantly being dependent on it. But continue virtual reality and augmented reality.
Yeah, and so if you look at virtual reality are the VR goggles. Now, the difference between both is virtual reality has no representation of the physical world. It's all a virtual realm where the environment is different. The minute you put on the goggles, you could be in space, you can be on a different planet, you can be in a car, you can be in different things. So that's the two different versions of it. And virtual reality allows businesses to create fake simulations. That's the best way to put it. But at the same time, there's one very powerful thing that Elon said recently, which is there will be a point of time where virtual reality and augmented reality are so crystal clear and so crystal powerful that the chances of a person being able to find the difference between reality and virtual reality are like close. It's 1 in a billion. Like it's going to be so close in terms of comparison that you won't be able to see significant difference. I don't know how true it is, but if we've seen significant change in e-commerce over the past 1 year with technology and how we humans always innovate, anything is possible.
Exactly.
What do you think would be the benefits of these AR or VR being implemented into business line? Like, I mean, we obviously give our points about it, but like they're implementing this because there's some benefit. What do you think from your side?
So AR would definitely help in two ways. Number one, on the digital world, everything is in the everything is stored on a database. That is, let's say, all kind of brands that are created on Shopify, all of them are stored on Shopify's database. That is the product, the price, the description, and everything. If you're able to take that entire database and load it up into an AI model and tell them learn everything from this, you hook up your AI model to your glasses, for example, the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, and when you walk around the mall, you can look at a product. If there was that product in the database, you'll be able to find out the price for it. That's how close you can get to understanding how well you can use it. So it means if I look at you and the glasses can understand what shirt you're wearing, if it has a prior database of it, it can tell me exactly how much you bought that shirt for. I'm not saying it is available right now. Even if it is, I don't know much, but I'm saying this is where I see augmented reality moving towards. You can look at products, you can look at anything. It all starts from the fundamental thing, which is database. A database has to be provided to an AI model for it to understand the source of things. What is the price? What's the product? What's the color? So that when it sees it again, we have to keep in mind AI is a self-learning model. Smarter than any of us, it's more capable than any of us. We can't be up 24/7, but an AI model can always be running 24/7. So I think that's the future. VR is something that I don't really see a lot, just because you have to be so disconnected from the real world for a long time to be able to take the best use of VR. But AR still keeps your touch to the real world still connected. That's the best way I could put it.
What I see with VR and AR is like for example, e-commerce because we have to connect it with e-commerce, right? Some clothing company or someone who's trying to sell some product, like you told, it gets so close to reality. Like if they're showcasing their products, maybe there can be a downloadable link for whoever possesses these AR and VR, like how everyone has a PS5 or PS4 at this point, like different MacBooks, etc. If they have it at their house, click this link and you can see our product in like in this VR or AR, and it look like the same physical realm thing, right? So if it's like clothes they want to try, maybe they just go and stand in front of a mirror or something, and then that cloth comes on. So there's different ways, but it depends on how they are programming it for working.
Yeah. And it needs to be scalable at one point. Like, it is expensive right now to implement all of these tools, which is why businesses don't really look forward to it.
Yeah.
But I think with one thing that I've seen over time is our previous generation never really had the habit of using mobile phones a lot. They were mainly outgoing people. Like, we grew up just playing football on the road. But the new generation, every restaurant you go to, every kid always has an iPad in front of them. So you're trained from being a child that whatever you see on a screen is what goes into your brain. So with tech, I think people are more reliable on technology nowadays. Like, you take a phone away from a person who's addicted to it 24/7, they'd go crazy. But then you have two sides of it. You can either use a phone to your advantage where you're a consumer, that you're brain dead and you're constantly scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, or you use it in a way where you want to learn some information and be a producer. Produce content for people so that people can learn off of you and people can make some changes in their life. Like,
Correct.
one thing that you said with the AR was, if I had a clothing brand and I could sign a deal with Meta for their Ray-Ban glasses, it would exclusively be so that my products, when people use those glasses and they looked into the mirror, they can see what the shirt would look like on them and what size.
Yeah,
what
there's
size
already
it
a
would
few
be.
websites like that, right? Like if you want to buy glasses, you can see how you would look like with those specific glasses.
There's already some softwares like this in the stores.
But I think, like you said, there's a very high initial investment required, and that's why there's a
Yeah.
hold up right now.
So I think when you look at trends, we spoke about AI, then AR, augmented reality and virtual reality. The next trend that is happening, which is a hoax, but I would say it's a trend still, is sustainable and eco-friendly products. It's something.
Why do you say it's a hoax?
because I don't know how, like, people say, okay, you have to look after the environment and all of that. You move away from plastic, but then you move more into paper bags. Paper comes from trees, so you're chopping down more trees.
Yeah.
So I get it. Both ways, it is harmful to the environment, but at the same time, the most harmful thing to the environment is to do all of this in the first place. We as humans,
Industrialization.
we as humans have industrialized everything.
Yeah.
Like the way how tribes lived in the past, they didn't have technology, they didn't have materials, they didn't have like mechanisms. But we've created this reality where you have to go and do certain set of rules and tasks in life to reach to where we are. So right now, that trend has taken us to a point where they've emphasized a lot on eco-friendly products. Like you've seen the spoons and the straws.
Yeah.
Where
Starbucks.
it's not Starbucks.
I mean, we even had a couple of clients, right, who started their clothing brand with nature-themed products. So yeah, but to be fair, it did well. So there is demand.
I mean, it's a good catch,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's a good way because you're playing on psychology of people at the end of the day. Yeah. So you have to see what do people relate with. I went for Coldplay's concert as well, and they said that. So for those of you that don't know, the Coldplay concerts have those white
Lights?
bands.
Yeah.
So they said all the money that they made from the concerts go towards making those wristbands which are eco-friendly, and all the money that they made goes towards helping the environment, cleaning up the seabeds and all of that. So at that point, I realized, okay, fine. Everyone was so happy about it. That means people psychologically go like, okay, I'm not spending on something stupid. I'm spending on something that helps the environment. When, again, in my professional opinion, I can say yes, eco-friendly products are good because it's easy to sell because there is a target audience for it. There are people specific to wanting eco-friendly products. I know of people who don't consume plastic. They only use paper products. So there is a target audience, but it is a trend as long as you know how well to market yourselves at the end of the day.
I think it comes down to morals, right? Like people feel that deep sense of morality towards the earth and everything.
Yeah.
So when they do something, they like, oh, I did something nice in the process of purchasing this thing. I'm saving the environment. So it's just like these quick thoughts that when people who don't go too deep into thinking, like consumers who are addicted to consuming, shopping constantly, they just follow the trend. Somewhere in the media, someone tells you like, eco, you have to save the nature. So they hear this, they're like, oh, this is eco-friendly shirts. Let me try selling this now. I mean, let me try buying this so that I can save the earth in some way or the other. But like, how Starbucks provides those straws, paper straws, but plastic cups. So when you look at it in a bigger picture, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense, What are
Does
you
it help? Who knows? But then,
if they're doing it well and good.
There are lots of people who love it.
Is it? The thing you have to ask yourself is: do you want to fight the rabbit hole and say you're doing this, but you're not doing that, or you can just say.
It's like the vegans versus meat eaters argument.
If Coldplay cleaned up the shore well and good, I'm happy. They did their part.
Yeah, that was a bit of a funny thing.
They didn't,
Then I think the last trend that came to my mind was mobile commerce and voice search. Because I think that is something that's going to be... Mobile commerce is the current trend that's going on, which is everyone uses a phone for everything. Like, I don't know when's the last time you had to open your laptop or your desktop to buy something that you couldn't buy already using your mobile phone. So I think people who are getting into starting their business online, e-commerce related, optimize your business for mobile search, where your display looks perfect for a mobile screen rather than a desktop screen just because of visibility. And voice search, I think, is the next future because you already have Siri, Alexa that does everything for you.
Even ChatGPT's AI is amazing.
Yeah. So voice search is going to definitely be the future, where I do believe a lot of people are going to be creating a lot of AI models that can do a lot of things for you, which is one thing that I saw recently was they're creating an AI model through ChatGPT, which you just tell it, I'm planning to fly to Italy on this specific date. Can you build an itinerary for me? Can you book my tickets? This is the budget that I have. This is the place that I would like to stay. And it can do all of these tasks for you. So it's like having your personal assistant on your phone.
I saw recently a video on real estate where they were using AI software or AI basically to speak on their behalf
to
in
handle
their
the cold
voice,
call. Yeah,
in
I
their
saw
voice.
that.
It's a
And
crazy.
it's not like a robotic voice
Yeah.
anymore. It's speaking just like a
Yeah.
normal human being with
People
like
have a
normal.
misconception that talking to a AI bot is like talking to those banks,
Yeah, because they are
because
using that, right?
it has evolved completely
Yeah,
from that.
yeah.
People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mobile commerce is going to be definitely the
Yeah.
future. Like one thing that we've also done is whatever work we do for clients, whatever work that we put in for our own business is all optimized for mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier for a person to carry their mobile around rather than an iPad and a laptop.
Yeah.
So I think when we look at trends, 4 of these trends is definitely something people should catch on.
Sure.
I know definitely that we are catching up on it.
Yeah,
And,
super insightful. And we've applied it in our
Yeah.
daily days.
So people need to be ready for change. Change is the one thing humans hate the most because you have to constantly learn the new things that are coming up. And that's what separates AI from humans, which is
Hyper adaptability of
yes,
AI.
and how quickly you can adapt. Like one thing that I'm going to put out there, you guys know about it in top line, but in depth, we are building an AI agent that's going to handle our X profile. It's going to be putting out posts. It's going to be educating people on e-commerce. It's going to be learning trends that are currently happening by scraping through X. It's going to be replying to specific people on X to learn from their information. And the reason why we've taken this approach to go ahead and build our own AI agent is because, let's say I assign you to handle X. How many posts can you put in a day?
If
That
I
makes
have
sense.
Exactly. If I have to do my research, look at like drafting the post, maybe 3 to 4 posts per day,
And how many people would you reply to?
maybe the same amount, like maybe 4 to 5 max.
Okay. So we launched our AI agent yesterday, and within one day, it put out 4 posts that were all e-commerce related, and it replied to 10 people. And these are like the top people in e-commerce. And this was the test that I was telling you guys.
So
like,
we can train the kind of people we wanted to reply to as well, right?
And it's like it's important because it's like investing into a child when you already know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, let's say a child is 3 years old right now and we want him to learn everything about e-commerce. It's going to take 15 to 18 years for him to be at an age where he can learn, where he's learned everything, and he has to keep learning along the way on new trends. But having your own AI agent really, really helps, where it learns on its own. It's fully scalable because you want it to talk about any specific topic. It has the knowledge base of the entire internet over there.
Yeah.
And you get to choose how do you want to use it for your benefit. Now, how we're going to use our AI agent to help other business owners, I'm not going to say it right now, but that's a project in the making. And I think people who stay tuned with things are definitely going to find value, especially if you're someone who is in e-commerce and you're looking to scale your business from one level to another. This is going to be something definitely they have to look out for. The couple of other things that I just noted down, because it's just when you talk about future of e-commerce, it's like really vast and there's a lot of topics that you can pick on. But one thing that's important is, how do you think people should prepare for it? Like when you say prepare for change, what is something someone can do?
So in business terms, like everyone, initially when they start their business, they all have that juvenile thought process of making money, right? They're like, I want to make money so I can pay certain stuff, blah, 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 etc. Have a good lifestyle, blah. But I think that mentality should be taken a bit away, because you're growing a business, you need to define your purpose and what's the vision. Your purpose, like usually business owners should have, is not sole purpose of making money, which most of them understand in the process, that short wins are not what we're looking for, long-term wins. So defining our vision and defining a plan and strategy, keeping everything there, will give us that daily motivation to wake up and do something for our business. Because when you look forward, like there can be certain changes which can negatively impact your business. Like TikTok is going down. How many people have started on TikTok in US, and they make like a lot of money out of this. And in this point, these are people who have solely depend on TikTok for their source of income. When this goes down, they could be devastated from the results of it. But what they can do in this process is, okay, I've built my personal brand on TikTok. I can navigate to another platform to just have a strategy in the end. Because when we started our business, like we told, we started with Chatbot, etc. when all the chatbots failed, when the money runs out of the bank account. We could have stopped our vision because money wasn't fueling us, it was the vision. Then we finally came to the end result of what we wanted. I mean, this is not the final outcome, but what we started with e-commerce consultants, and we ended up being there. So change is definitely going to happen. But if you stick to that same process, expecting that, okay, this is a strategy I know, this makes me money. If I don't make money, my business is not successful, then you're more in tune to find yourself going down a pit. But preparation mentally is one of the most important aspects,
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, we need to adapt. We need to always make sure we, what do you say?
Open-minded to adaptability.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think the very simplified way for someone to understand like how to do it from like day one till now is the best example is when we started off our business, we started off in AI chatbots. At that point, it looked very pleasing, but we didn't know exactly how to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And the reason why is we were given a data set that says this is how it works, this is how it can help someone. But we didn't have the right mindset to be able to understand it in the right way to translate it into selling it to another business owner because we ourselves couldn't find the use case for it for ourselves. But then throughout the process, it's been 1.5 years right now, and now it's come full circle. We're back to having our own AI agent, but now we understand the capability.
Yeah.
Again, this time we were presented with a data set which was AI agents. It came up to me, I saw it, and I was like, I'm not making the same mistake twice by leaving it out. This is something you have to capitalize on because it's like when you hear about Bitcoin when it was $1, you go like, oh, it's a scam. And now when it's $100,000, everyone wants to run around and jump and buy it. So following the same trend is number one, understanding information. Be smart enough to sharpen your tools, watch the right podcast, speak to the right people, sharpen your tools. You get a lot of information on things, and that's important when you have to like actually understand in depth what can you use, what you cannot use. Based on that, you're able to make a more informed decision. And the next step is when an opportunity presents itself to you, you need to be smart enough to know whether or not you have to invest in the right technology or no. For example, we invested a lot of money in the AI chatbots when we first started off. We didn't know where it was going, but it was just, okay, we started our first business. Now, when the opportunity presented itself to us, we know when we have to invest into it, we know with what kind of mindset we're going ahead in.
Yeah.
We know exactly how to position ourselves. We know where the money is coming from to be able to allocate funds to invest into our company so that we're growing in the right way. Growing, seeing a vision, scaling your company, and investing the right technology is the way forward. For people that are not investing in their own business and just taking money out for their personal use, you can do it, but it all depends on why you started a business in the first place. You can start it to make money or you can start it to help people. Now, we have a balance of both. We're not just people who are doing things for charity, but I hope down the line we could do some good charitable work as well. But I think that's a good framework for someone who's like trying to see, you know what, there's a lot of things going on in the world.
Yeah.
How do I stay up to date? The first thing that I tell someone to stay up to date, use X. I'm not saying don't use any of the other platforms. Use X because it gives you unbiased opinions. It gives you information. And they have a model over there called Grok. It's on the homepage and it's free to use. You don't have to pay for it. Use Grok. My honest opinion is treat it like a personal friend that has all the information on this planet and just talk to it. It can give you business plans. It can give you forecasts. It can project numbers for you. It can understand data for you. It can do everything. It's like if someone had to sit and spend 24 hours with me, you could sit on Grok and spend 10 minutes and get the same amount of information. And it's so powerful because I learned everything about AI agents in the span of 30 minutes on a fundamental point of view just by spending time on Grok and using it. Now, you can use ChatGPT, but my personal preference is Grok just because information comes through X and you are the media. Like people are the media over there. So it's not a biased opinion.
Arjun, in terms of like preparation for future, considering current situation, since you're the finance guy, and I know many people will be watching who's just starting business and their first worry will always be money.
Yeah.
What would your suggestion be for someone to have discipline in business finance and how they can take necessary steps even on their shortcomings just so that they can prepare for a long-term plan? And
like let's just take our case as an example. Once we started making money, it's not like we took it right away. Is it we had a plan, we had a goal. Only once we reach this X amount of money consistently over this much period of time, we are allowed to take it. So if there's a person who just, what do you say, he makes quick buck, he wants to pocket it, he's never going to grow as a business. So you always need to have a plan, like you said, have everything noted down, have a plan so that your business grows. And then if you're consistently making whatever amount you had set, and then after that, and even after taking back the money, you still have money enough for reinvestment and other miscellaneous expenses and everything else, then all and good. But then, what do you say? You should not treat your business as, what do you say? You just want to make a quick buck. Whatever money you make, you just take it, have fun, and then you just forget about what your next cycle is going to be. So you always need to have, what do you say? Especially if you are doing a business by yourself, you need to have, what do you say? Good control. You need to have very good control, which is something which I feel like it lacks, which many people lack, having good control, especially financially. So this is something which affects a lot of people.
A business owner, when he starts a company, he shouldn't care too much about himself, but making sure the
and
company
especially
is
when
healthy.
he has lots of employees, it's difficult as well, because he has to look at paying them, right?
Yeah.
So if he's not making much money and if he has to pay them, he's in like two minds. What do I do? Should I pay from my pocket? Should I just put in more capital into the company? So it is a tough one, but then you have to ride the wave,
Yeah.
So in your opinion, because you're a very finance oriented guy, when you see e-commerce evolving year on year with new trends and everything, how does that impact the world of finance? Number one, because traditional businesses, when people start, you have physical assets that are there, that are bookkept, that are accounted for. So when you have to sell it, like you can add a value to it. But how does that translate to now you have an e-commerce store, a clothing brand, for example, and I want to sell my company?
Yeah.
How does that impact the world of finance? Because it's a different ball game altogether. It's not tangible unless it for the inventory.
I think there's already a website, right, where you can purchase these e-commerce domains as well. What was the website called? I just forgot about
Empire
it.
Flippers.
Exactly. So I think, like we don't know how much it will affect in the future, but what I feel is it's based on the revenue they make, or they take into account how much expenses they have, all the revenue they make, and especially the goodwill as well, about how well the business is doing. So based on these projections, I feel like you can get a good, decent amount of idea how much the company is worth. So I feel like this is something which matters. But then again, what do you say? There's so much more. It can vary between company to company, the industry it is in, what they are dealing in, how much, what kind of inventory they have. So it's just a rough ballpark which we mentioned, but then mainly regarding the revenues, the expenses, the profits they make, you can get a small rough estimate.
When you look at a traditional business, the invoicing method, you have like a notebook with like 3 color sheets. You have to write on it, and then you tear one copy, you give one copy to the other guy, you keep another copy for yourself. And as time has passed, technology has shown us that finance has also evolved to a point where you have certain tools. What is the one tool, if someone started a business today, what's the one finance and accounting tool that they should use that helps them keep track of everything?
I wouldn't say like there's like one specific tool which you have to use, because of course there's so many accounting tools, so many finance tools. So you have to especially the really good ones are really expensive. Most startups won't even be able to afford it, but still just look at the ones available in your area. So like you said before, it was, what do you say, you have invoices, you write it down, have an expense, write it down, and then just manually reconcile it. It's a very difficult task. But now what? You can do all of these in that software. Now it's very cheap as well, especially if you're starting off. So
what's the software name?
Suggest, please.
Please suggest us the software
you
name.
can check out maybe Zoho. So especially if you're a beginner, this is perfect for you. You can account invoices, you can record purchases, you can send out invoices as well through the software. So it's a very good and simple software, especially, this is something which we haven't even talked about throughout the business. How do we track all these stuff? How do we track all our invoices? How do we track all our expenses? How much money we have in the bank? So you don't need to write it down, basically, like back in the day, how people used to do. So you can just record all these over here. Especially, you can even link your bank account with this. So then whatever transactions happening, it automatically enters into your database. So it's very simple.
On a monthly basis, you're able to extract your balance sheet, your profit and
Exactly.
loss account
With a simple click.
So that's what's important, because a lot of people who start off a business, for example, yes, it all looks cool. I want to make revenue. I want to sell products. I want to do this. But how many of you are actually looking into the bookkeeping side of things? How many of you are seeing what is your profit margins? How many of you are able to understand what is the margins that you require to keep your business sustainable? Now, the one thing that I can tell everybody is our business works only because we have 4 pillars in this company. The 4 pillars are marketing, sales, operation, and finance. Without these 4 pillars, none of this would be possible.
Exactly.
If I had to run the whole thing by myself, I don't know how to bookkeep something. I don't know how to check anything out, but I know how to read a balance sheet when I see one. You're the expert when it comes to being the CFO of the company. You are the one that accounts for everything. How has e-commerce helped your life in terms of making things systematic and easy, versus if you had to put yourself in a position today that there is no mobile phones, no laptops, and you have to run the same operation?
Oh my God, it would be
Chaotic, huh?
exactly. Like let's just think of I just want to buy something. I must have got an invoice. I record that down, and then if there's another expense I have to make, I record that down. And then if I have to pay a salary to someone, I have to record each transaction. You just have to write it down. And then what if you lose that paper? What happens then? It's gone. It's gone. There's no cloud.
Yeah.
It's gone. So
But there are risks to all of it. Like everything being digital, the risk is the possibility of you being hacked.
Exactly.
It's always there.
Always there.
Again, you just got to see risk to reward. Yeah.
Most important is data when it comes to finance, to read consumer patterns in spending, in terms of their purchase power, etc., etc. If it was all physical, there was no chance we would have this data.
Exactly. And like you said, I think you said this in the first podcast as well. We have to learn to understand these data. Learn what does the balance sheet mean? Like, how does this balance sheet look? Is my balance sheet healthy or not? How is you can get the income statement. You can see if your company is making an income. Maybe you might have made a revenue of 10,000. You're like, oh, I made 10,000 this month. Oh, it must have been a really good month. But only when you actually account for everything and you see actually you must have spent lots on ads, you're actually at a loss. So that means it was not a good month. So you'll only know this if everything is done properly and everything is tracked and accounted for.
Like, it's very important to have a finance guy, just because it takes the stress off of you. But then, like we said, at the end of the day, all of our roles are all easily replaceable by AI, which is why the value that we bring to the table is not just for you from a CFO point of view. The value that you bring to the table is not just accounting and bookkeeping. What you bring to the table is telling us, guys, this is how much money we have at the end of the month. This is how we have to spend it over the next 3 months, so that we're spending it in investable opportunities, which will give us a higher return on investment over the next 9 to 12 months. That's what people have to keep their eye out on. Like, you don't need a finance guy to just account for something and say, okay, it's accounted for. That even an AI model can do. But the benefit comes is when
understanding the data and what to do with it.
That's where understanding trends and everything. That's what. So when we look at the future of e-commerce, I think the future is very bright. Number one, the key trends that are there, just to recap on things, the key trends were AI and automation. Then we're looking at augmented reality and virtual reality. Then the psychology of people when it comes to eco-friendly products and sustainable products. And the last thing was mobile commerce and voice search. I think other than this, there's not much that comes to my mind on future trends, but people should keep an eye out for this. I think this is definitely a good episode where people have to listen to it and sit through the whole thing, just because there's a lot of valuable information just about various things. We've spoken about finance, we've spoken about marketing, we've spoken about how e-commerce is changing as an industry. All of this is very important when you have to start off. If you're someone starting off in this year, it's important. You can go and watch all the previous videos of everyone talking about things in 2024, but keep up to date with people, follow the right people so that they're giving you the right knowledge, and be up to date with all of the trends.
And share your insights too if you have something new about trends, future predictions. And that's how we can grow as a community, right? Collaborating their thoughts with each other.
For sure. And, a couple of interesting insights is the reason why I wanted to tell you guys this also. The reason why we have to be in the AI agent space is because when you're too late to the game, that's when you don't see the best results. You end up using a software built by somebody else. But if you build a software early enough, test it in the right way, market it in the right way, you have a following for it, you'll be able to allow others to save the time and effort to go looking for things rather than just using your software. I think we learn from our, not failures, but you learn from experiences that we've been through. And I definitely am 110% sure we're not going to fall down this time, because the plan that's coming forward is a big thing. The future is very bright for e-commerce, and we're going to capitalize on it in the best way possible.
And one more additional point. The most important thing about building your own software. You remember Patrick Bet David was talking about how his evaluation, just by creating a software, went skyrocket. I don't know the exact numbers. One of you might know it. But if you have your own software in your own company, this thing, rather than white labeling another software, evaluation is off the charts.
Like, to emphasize more on that, to give people like in-depth stuff about it. An example of our company right now. Our company runs because we four are there and our knowledge is there in it. Tomorrow, if we choose to sell our company, when we're not going to get what we think we're valued at, because for someone to pay us that amount of money to buy us out, they would put a stipulation that we have to work over there for the next 2 years until we can transition it into their team. But what brings valuation to the table is us having a proper software that is owned by us, so that tomorrow when we sell it, the business doesn't disrupt, the business doesn't stop, there's still cash flow. Whether the owners are there or no, the business stays the same. That's what people are willing to pay for. So I think that's just an emphasis on more on your point. But I think we've covered majority of the things for today. What we'd like to do is encourage people to reach out to us. If you have any tips and tricks on what the future of e-commerce could be like, reach out to us on our website, messages on WhatsApp, messages on Facebook. We're there everywhere for you guys. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this along with a lot of people, because the start of 2025 is going to be great, and we want to be along the journey to help a lot of people. That's the main motive. We're not here to provide people with a lot of information and just not be able to help others. We're here to help everyone. We don't believe we are the best in everything, but we learn through other people's experiences. So what you share with us, we learn. What we share with you, you learn.